This is a song called Plush. And I feel the time's a ways to go. So where you going to tomorrow? And I see that these are lies to come. Would you even care?
Hey, this is Walt from StogieReview.com here with another video cigar review. And I'm going to be doing a short ashes video for you. I've kind of been in the mood to smoke this cigar. Actually, I got 3 of them in the mail, and I smoked one immediately, one a couple of days later, and then I was all ready to do a review on the 3rd one. But Brian Hewitt beat me to it, which is fine, because Brian did a tremendous job with his review. So I'm recording this one because, well, I feel like having this EP Carrillo short run 2010, and I guess as a result I'll just stick this this video in the archives to be used later on, so that the 2 reviews sort of aren't back to back. Brian did a great job of producing all kinds of information about the brand, so there's really no reason for me to reinvent the wheel. You can go back to Brian's original review and get all the specifics for it, and with that said, I'm just going to dive right in and get to smoking. So, just looking at this thing a little bit, first thing I noticed is that the wrapper sort of looks like worn leather, like a worn baseball mitt. How it's got color variations, especially around the veins. You can see that it's considerably lighter in patches, you know, spreading out away from the veins. It's not necessarily bad looking, but it gives it a mottled or a bit of a distressed look. The veins that are there really aren't standing up much. They're pretty fair, small. Got a small little hole at the cap, which may or may not be a problem. With my luck, it'll probably leak air and I'll get less smoke out of it. But aside from the color being, aside from a little bit of variation in the color, it looks very nice. I've got one soft spot up in here, actually right here. But aside from that, it feels firmly packed tobacco. It looks good, feels good. So I'm gonna go ahead and light it and get this thing underway. So first and foremost, what do I think of the whole short run concept? Since Ernesto Perez Carrillo is doing one of these in 2010, and he plans on doing more later on. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is there's no designation as to what this particular cigar is. I mean, if all of them don the same short run wrapper, collectors are going to have a difficult time determining what's what in their stock. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't collect cigars, why would that matter to me? Well, you know, just start looking through your humidor, and you'll probably find buried at the bottom, you know, a half a dozen cigars that you bought a year ago, and either you forgot about them, they made their rotation in the bottom, or you know, they just weren't up to speed for you at that particular time. Here we are, you know, 6 months to a year later, and you're still holding on to those cigars. You know, what if you bought more? What if it became your speed within that time period and you got some more? Now you've got old stock mixed with new stock. If there's a blend change and they didn't change the packaging or anything like that, you know, there's a lot of what ifs. Or what if you decide, well, you know, these aren't up to speed, or these aren't my cup of tea, so I'm going to trade them. And you go into a cigar forum and you trade your EP Carrillo short runs, you know, to some guy in another state for something that you do like, and now he gets these cigars and he really has no idea what they are. You know, a date designation or something differentiating this release from a later release would be fantastic. You know, maybe the later releases will say something different, and it's just not required in a cigar that only one of them comes out in 2010. So you know, that's kind of the only thing that comes to mind when I look at this particular cigar, knowing that there's going to be more short releases or short runs later on. I'm also not completely sold on the short run concept. You know, I wasn't a big fan of the Rocky Patel seasonal stuff, or I didn't even try the Gurkha micro batches, but it kind of makes, when I see short run stuff like that, or limited release based on season or tobacco availability, it makes me think of those particular lines, and I'm not really fond of either of them. But now that I've ranted and complained, I'm going to cut the camera off. I'll be back in just a minute. We'll take a look at the first third, or the first half, however I decide to do it, of my EP Carrillo short run 2010. We'll come back and then we'll go from there. So sit tight. Alright, well, welcome back. I'm still plugging along on my EP Carrillo short run 2010, and there's a glance at the clock. I guess it's been about 50 minutes now, and cigar's burning really, really well. I've got a burn line that's slightly wavy, no complaints with it whatsoever. The ash is, it's not terribly strong. It's holding on for about 3/4 of an inch before it falls off the cigar. It doesn't take much force to knock it from the end of the cigar. When it does fall, I mean, it's kind of busted up. It's not really holding together. Some ashes, I mean, you can drop them from table height onto the floor, and they hold firm like a rock. This one's kind of busted apart, but you know, I have an empty ashtray, so I'm glancing in it to see what the ashes look like when it falls. Flavor-wise, I'm really enjoying this cigar. Now, I'm a big fan of the inaugural 2009 cigar. It's tremendously smooth. It's very complex. Just a really, really good cigar. Price tag is a bit high on it at $13, but it's one of those cigars that I really like to treat myself with, especially earlier on in the morning, earlier afternoon. I find it to be relatively mild. It's flavorful enough to stand up later on in the evening, but I prefer it earlier in the day. And I think this cigar does a really good job of contrasting that. This has more body. It's got more of a spicy tone to it. It can easily stand up in the evening, which is when I'm smoking it now, and it's polar opposite as far as the body spectrum is concerned. It's full flavored, full bodied, whereas the other cigar I would consider medium to full flavored, mild body. The main components I'm getting out of it as far as the taste is concerned is some nuttiness, some wood flavor. It's got a nice spicy component through the sinuses. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness, but I'm drinking a cup of hot tea, and I've got a little bit of sweetener in it. I think it may be a carryover from the tea rather than sweetness in the cigar itself. But all in all, I'm really enjoying it. It's easy on the palate, easy to get through the sinuses. You know, I don't get that urge to have my eyes start watering when I retrohale the smoke or anything like that. All in all, I think it's just a very enjoyable cigar. And you know, there was something else I wanted to bring up about it, but for the life of me, I can't think of what it is. So with that said, I'm going to take another break. I'll be back, and actually I'll probably just come back and wrap up the cigar. So sit tight, and I will be right back. Alright, well, I am back, and it's been another 50 minutes or so, and I guess it's about time to wrap up this video. I've got a considerable amount of cigar left, but I'm going to smoke it off camera because I want to wrap this thing up and start getting ready to close it out for the night. I got some stuff on the computer I got to finish up, and some other stuff, but I don't want to bore you with that. So, you know, what did I think of the EP Carrillo short run? Despite, you know, what I think may be problematic with collectors and just banding these cigars as short run and not differentiating different releases from year to year, I really like the line. I think the flavor is fantastic. It's nice and unique. It's got a lot of complexity. The flavors vary considerably throughout the cigar. Now they don't, the flavors aren't bouncing around wild like without a rhyme or reason. You know, just some puffs, the nuttiness of the cigar stands out. The next puff, there might be a woody flavor that stands out. The next puff, it may be more sweet than anything else. The next, you may get some spiciness through the sinuses that's a little more heavy than usual. There's a lot of depth and complexity and richness about the cigar that I really like. I think this is a fantastic contrast to the original inaugural 2009. If that is, you know, the ideal morning cigar, this is, you know, this is the match for the evening. And I think that the MSRP is a step in the right direction. The inaugural was a little expensive for me at $13 a piece. I didn't buy very many, and with a price point coming in at about $7 for this size, I think it puts it in the running for the times when I walk into the cigar shop and I pick up, you know, a Don Pepin My Father, or I pick up an Illusion 88. You know, cigars that are solid in that price range. I think this fits in very comfortably and will do well within that $7 to $9 price range. At the trade show, there's going to be another release, the Core brand, and I'm really interested to see where that goes. I'm hoping that we can get some samples before the trade show comes about. If not, you know, I'll just see what I can do about picking up a sample at the trade show. But I'm really interested to see the direction that cigar is going to go in. His first cigar in the inaugural 2009 was excellent. The short run is fantastic. I'm curious to see where the later short runs are going to go. You know, are they going to be similar blends with minor variations? Are they going to be wildly different, you know, using different wrappers, different, you know, binders and fillers, just being something, you know, completely different each time? But you know, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more releases by EP Carrillo, and I would strongly urge you to run out and give one a try if given the option. So that's all I got for you. And until next time, happy smoking.